So I know I haven't been on my walk for a while, and I haven't really talked about paradigm shifting as much as I want to talk about it. So I'm gonna get into it this week. But I wanted to discuss something. I saw this post online, and it instantly made me come to TikTok and decided to have a conversation with y'all. So come on in, let's have a talk. So a lot of people have started following me because I lived abroad, and I was giving a lot of tips about living abroad, right? And so, seeing that I lived in several different countries, from West Africa to Dubai to Turkey to Egypt, and traveled to a lot of different countries, I think that the things that I say are not based on just me guessing, but based on me actually living life in these countries and understanding what really goes on, which the average American would not know or understand unless they actually lived abroad, not traveled abroad, but lived abroad. So let's get into it. So I saw a post that talked about using the VPN for buying flights and hotels and things of that nature. But I want to talk about something that I experienced and I could not believe the difference of pricing versus me living in America versus me living abroad. And it actually like kind of made me mad about how they do Americans. So now when it comes to subscriptions like Netflix, Canva, because these are things that I utilize while being abroad, Apple Music, do you realize that the subscription fees are cheaper in other countries? Like let's say, prime example, in Dubai. What Canva costs in Dubai is literally 75% less than what they charge Americans to have the Canva subscription. We talking $2.99. $2.99 a month. Next up is Netflix. Now I couldn't remember the actual dollar amount, but I remember having Netflix and having a friend from India that was in Dubai, Abhishek. Y'all remember him? He had Netflix, and what he was paying for Netflix was 50% cheaper than what they charge for the subscription in America. And Apple Music was the same, like literally. So I started to check flights, use VPNs, or ask my friends, hey, check this flight and see what it was. And literally, now, first of all, I use Google Flights for the best cheap flights, but literally, the flights are way cheaper when it comes to flying abroad. Of course, flying abroad, because if you already over there, like my flight from Turkey to Egypt was like $100, and it's like, where in America could you get a one way flight to Egypt? Nowhere. But things are really cheaper when you live abroad. Like, I don't think people understand how they really are doing Americans, even when it comes to trading, right? The Asian session, the London session is less volatile. But come New York, oh, they taking that market and jacking and hammering and jacking and hammering, and Americans losing money. Meanwhile, I already made my money in the Asian market or in the London market, and I'm chilling by New York. Now, we already know the cost of living is so much cheaper, but for what you would pay for groceries living in Turkey or Nigeria or Dubai, any of these countries that I lived in, for what you would pay for groceries there versus what you would pay here, like I was literally spending $25, $30 for groceries, right? Here, you clearing $200, and that's with me going to 9 Day Moon, and that's still I spent $155 in 9 Day Moon. Never, never in Turkey was I ever paying that, and I was buying the same things: yams, rice, peppers. You know, my Nigerian food, my tofu, all that. Y'all, coming back to America, the phone bill. The phone bills, y'all. The internet bill, I was paying $13 for internet subscription in Turkey, right? I come here, it's $60. I wish Americans understood like this concept, right? I'm not saying try to beat the tariffs and, you know what I'm saying, go get your products from overseas or use a VPN to get your subscriptions. But what I am telling you is if you know better, you'll do better. And the American cost of living is ridiculous. I went to look for an apartment, which I'm going to talk about apartment searches, but When getting an apartment, we are y'all already know I talked about it, like how it is hella expensive getting an apartment in America versus overseas, right? But it's just the credit checks, the deposit, the administration fees, the application fees, the taxes, the valet trash, the this, the that, the this, the that. You coming out of like 3 bands just to move into a decent apartment, right? when when you move overseas, there is no administrative fee. There is a deposit, but the deposit be like $100. It don't even be the month's rent. Like, what's going on here? America, y'all need to take notes from these different countries. I don't want to say overseas, but and I don't want to say foreign. I just want to say from these different countries. If America was ran how they ran Germany, or Finland, or just some of these other European countries that really care about their citizens, or if the cost of living was comparable to all these different countries, then we probably wouldn't have as much crime and just homelessness and just unhappiness and mediocrity that we have here in America. The people are mediocre here in America because they can't afford to live a lavish life. They can't afford the natural things that are basically dirt cheap. How many people can't even afford Netflix because it's so high here in America? But overseas, everybody got Netflix. Everybody got Apple Music. Everybody got this. Everybody got that because they not paying as much as Americans are paying. Y'all need to realize what they're really doing to y'all, right? I won't say me because I know the system, right? I know what's up. So I'm going to make sure that while I'm here in America, I make my provisions based on what I know from living abroad. The best thing I could have ever did for my life was live abroad by myself, make friends, create relationships, and find my way. And let me tell y'all something. When I left America, I was by myself. When I came back to America, I was by myself. Y'all see me living in a lot of these countries by myself, and I managed, okay? I managed. So, therefore, if I can manage, like people say, if I could do it, you could do it. No, baby. If I did it, then you could do it. I crawl so you can walk. But guess what? Now I know how to walk. I know how to fly. I know how to skate. I know how to swim. So when I leave back out of here, trust me, it's going to be a lot different and I'm going to appreciate it a lot more than I even appreciated. Moving back to America made me appreciate living abroad for real. Oh, and someone in the comments asked me, they said, are you happy being back in the States or miss being overseas? I miss being overseas. I can't even hold you. I mean, being back in the United States, connecting with family, connecting with friends, being with my grandson is cool. But the mindset, I miss living overseas. So, yeah, baby girl, need some flights, baby. And shout out to my friends that understand the assignments and like, listen, you need to get back out here. Do not become American-fied. American-fied, is that a thing? Anyway, don't get caught up in the monotony of being in America. Get back overseas. We got your flights, your Delta straight flights back to West Africa. I'm on my way, baby. Okay?